experience of the campaign?
Okay, biggest challenge. Well, first of all, esports, electronic sports itself is a challenge anyway. And what before we came into ECM is basically the problem. We have our own problem as well. Is that we are doing too many things, exploring this so-called model A, model B. I think we have thousands of models of how to actually monetize from esports. So, and getting into equity crowdfunding itself is definitely finding the right business model to go for it. So one of it was last year, my partner went to pitch for Super from Taraju, and actually we won a 500,000 grant. Right. So, well, actually to build that thing, actually, with 500,000 alone, I think it's not sufficient enough for us to build the thing, and we need more funds. So I think maybe we can just base on that alone to, at least because from the Super itself, we already have the traction, and then probably we can utilize that traction in order for us to actually crowdfund from the public. And during the process of it, and then I think since we only started the company with 3 people, and then it's like literally everybody is like CEO, chief everything officer, or cover everything officer. To be honest, that's what we call ourselves. So in terms of financial evaluation of the company itself, we had to seek a lot of people. But I think after meeting with Other Plus, I think what I love about Other Plus is that they're just not here to make your crowdfunding goals live, but in terms of the knowledge that they share, the things, they're more like a family, and it's changing. I think everyone agrees with me, right? In finding the exact problem and how we can solve this, not as a business, but as I think more towards more emotional, even strategy, marketing, and everything. But like I said, the challenges is just for me is how we can actually put esports into one direction. I think up until today, we still have problems in explaining what is electronic sports to everybody. Since I started 3 years ago, every single people that I met is still a challenge for us. Still, like I say, it's still an infant industry, but I'm seeing the progress of it. Even the current government, they're embracing esports. Even the previous government started to embrace esports, and
we also have that challenge.
yeah,
Yeah.
even Other Plus had the challenge to understand,
To explain
to people, and we thought that with the communities going strongly we thought that we could write on the communities itself, but how and what are the right direction, what are the right tools to see. But I think we did a lot of.
Can I just say, internally, did you know what would be needed? I mean, what impact did in the company did the whole campaign have in terms of preparing for like the business plan, like your internal resources to the campaign? How was that? How did you find out?
Well,
was it highly disruptive? Was it what were the challenges?
Well, like I say, it's like, before we mentioned we haven't slept, right? So,
okay, you didn't sleep after that. Okay.
Yeah. So I think we learn. I think it's all about what you like I always say is what you learn from Other Plus. The challenges are learning new things, and for me, is every challenge that really move us to move forward. Really force us to move forward. Yeah, I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay, for us, at the first time, as we said before, we come as a fresh graduates who only have the idea, and of course partners at the time we have. And in terms of pitching, getting investment, in terms of fundraising, it is really the first time for us. We learn and do the execution at the same time. So we have people that guide us, and of course, it's the biggest challenge for us. Because once we have the idea, we want to do this, we want people to learn, we want people to know why we think it's a good market, why we think it's a good business, why we think it's a good model. And to do that is not easy. especially when we meet the people and then they give us a lot of different thoughts that maybe a positive one or maybe a negative one. We have to be ready for that. We have to we have to get the answers for that. So when we come that we cannot prove our idea yet because we didn't do the execution yet. So I think it's very hard for us to basically do everything. It's the challenge for us because we do the first time in here. And fortunately, at the time, Elaine, Kiri, and the other members patiently told us what to do because, like, for the system itself, for the step, in doing the ECF and how we do it in Ataplas is very clear. It's very clear. So we didn't get a problem about it. But the problem is how people catch what we want to do, how people believe in us because we don't have any experience at that time. How people believe that we can do a good job. We need to show that we are really determined in here. We know the market, we understand the market, we know that this is gonna be big. But for doing that, we didn't have any proof. So we have to share share our thoughts, and make them understand why we think like that. So it's the biggest challenge for us. Maybe that's all I have for us.
Okay, before that, please welcome Alvin.
Okay, so for Pasatep, two things. I think first remember. Number one, at that time, online groceries was still very new in Malaysia. It was still slightly before Happy Fresh started operating in Malaysia. And when we went out to Hong Kong and we were just speaking to the industry, there were some problems with online grocery in India. So there are some companies has closed down and we were not very sexy at that time, right? And secondly, so the first one, it was a bit difficult for us to explain to people that what we are doing in Malaysia. When we started off, it was purely an online groceries. Now we've pivoted a little bit. We still have the platform, but we're more on the supply chain now. But essentially, for the first few weeks when we went out, explaining to people how you can actually go to the pasar without leaving the house is simply a little bit difficult for people to grasp. Yeah. Secondly, the caveat that we were the first issuer, I think we were both Ataplas and ourselves, we were trying very hard to explain to people what ECF is all about. At that time, they were still very early. I think it was a few months right after they got their license when we started campaigning and the campaign. So, suffice to say that we didn't close, but that's another story.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that, yeah. But I think the two things, right? The industry that we were in was very new in Malaysia and it was slightly falling off outside of Malaysia. And secondly, that we were very early on in the ECF platform.
What's all about? Yeah, well, the question we were asking actually, Alvin, well, maybe actually you can tell us why you chose ECF in the first place, because you missed that question, but I'd like to hear from you guys as well. So, Alvin is the CEO of Kitterman, isn't it? Sorry, FinSpot. My mistake. That's for coming late.
Yeah, I introduced myself first. So my name is Alvin Tan, and I'm from FinSpot. So what we do is a subscriptions-based financial education platform. So it's mainly focused on personal finance, covering topics like personal investments, insurance, wills, your personal finance planning. So why ECF is because since we choose the markets of a mass market, a public market, and then we believe that FinSpot has to be really widely cover all the markets that is purely mass market. So we choose ECF, equity crowdfunding, in exchange of the public recognitions, and also the valuation is publicly recognized. And to us, it's like we are very confident with our community built for around 1 year, and so far we think like online community is very important and very supportive to us. That's why we choose ECF, which is mainly cloud-based and also online-based. And in the end, it shows that what we have done is correct. And online community has been very supporting to us and support our ECF activity as well. Thank you.
Okay, before that, we still have seats here, guys. I feel so bad. There's 3 people who can sit on the sofa. There's 2 more seats here in front. Please move forward. Please don't be shy. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to ask one more question to Alvin of FinSpark. Very briefly before we move to the next question. And what was the greatest challenge for you in terms of getting prepared for ECF campaign?
I think our greatest challenges was our mental preparations, I can say, because we never done this before, and we never know that whether our online community will support us in terms of investing in the company. We are not sure whether the business model that we have been told to the investors, is it valid and is it supporting to us? So I think the mental preparations and also to be very confident that we will really get the investors to invest in our ECF activities. It's one of the biggest challenge, and so far, yes, we have done it. Thank you.
Okay, now I have a very interesting question now to all the panelists here, and this is about valuation. Okay, so the question is, right, valuation has always been a challenge, I think, between investors and business owners, right? So the question is, what do you think valuation is very important, a key factor to the success of a campaign, ECF fundraising campaign? And the next question would be, what is the right valuation? Is there a right valuation? Yeah. So who wants to take it? You want to start? Okay.
Share your experience.
Since I'm the last one, so I'll start now. Okay. Very interesting question. My favorite. Valuation, it was something completely new to us at that time, right? We were just a few guys who wanted to solve a problem, doing online business, delivering to people, all that, just a simple brick and mortar, online business. So, but when we spoke to Elaine and Kiri, we had to basically come up with a valuation, right? And it doesn't help that when we were in Hong Kong, and previously, before few months before that, we already had an offer. And also when we were in Hong Kong, some people came to us and also came to tell that they were interested in us and gave a proposal, basically. So when we came back, we were on a high. We thought, oh my God.
You're giddy.
Yeah, we were giddy. Somebody in Hong Kong told us that, oh, we want to buy you such and such, and value you at a certain number, which was exhilarating, right? So when we came back,
They were in the clouds.
we were in the clouds, yeah, definitely. So when we came back, I think we had the numbers to crunch to come up to a certain valuation. I think they did a good job to bring us back down a little bit. But it was very critical, especially at that time when ECF was still very new and nobody understood what e-commerce groceries is all about, and it being not as sexy as probably a SaaS company selling software and stuff. We were essentially a very conservative industry, but bringing it online, right? So it was perhaps the one thing that led us to not close. I think that is fair to say. However, I like the end of the tunnel. However, I think some of the investors that we did got some investment during the campaign. We didn't meet the minimum valuation. Sorry, the minimum investment. So some of the investors outside of the platform came back to us and invested still. So I think it was very important that during the campaign period we spoke our mind. We know what we wanted to do. We told the market what we wanted to do, what we set up to solve and stuff like that. I think some of them understood what we wanted, and until now they are still with us.
And
yeah.
you brought down valuation.
Yeah. So yes. So we brought down the valuation after the campaign. Now steadily is going up. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, I think that was a very good education for us, especially as a new company, especially new in ECF as well. I think also they also learned something from us. All right, thank you.
Okay, maybe I can. Okay. For us, it's a very big challenge to make valuation. How come we make a valuation of an idea? I mean, we not come as a platform yet, so we are only an idea. But at the time we have we have like a supporting factor because at the time we have 3 people on the team, all the co-founders, and we already got 400 BD providers in partnership with us. With with only 4 slides, PowerPoint slides. So at that time we get the partnership without any proof for the BD providers. So we only come there and then share our ideas. We brought 4 slides PowerPoint and they say yes. They did sign with our agreement, officially become our partners, and that is our weapon to make the valuations. And at the time, I thought, because we are on the like a very beginners, I thought to make such a valuation there is like equation or something like that to decide. But when we know, no, you calculate your own valuations. You make the the base of the valuation itself. You make it yourself. So we thought how we do it, and it's very challenging for us. And when we do that, we can prove to the people who invest in us that our valuation is right. Because if we calculate the right way today, after 3 months of launching, our valuation already doubled. So, so we make a max sense valuation at that time. But at the same time, we didn't put small valuation because we believe what we have is big. With 450 DD providers, it's a big valuation because we already get a quite big percentage of BT providers in Greater Jakarta because we do the operation only in Greater Jakarta, not all the Indonesia yet for the first time. So yeah, it's a good numbers, it's a right valuation, and we can prove it until today with 3 months of launching only. So I think yeah, it's very things that you have to, it's very good thing you have to consider when you want to do a pitching sessions, because people see how you value your business and how your logical thinkings in making valuation at a time. If you put a very big numbers and it doesn't make sense, it proves your sense of analyticals is not right? So how can people believe in you when you cannot even do the right valuation for your own company, for your own idea? But if you put a small number, it's telling people that you are not confident. You're not confident on what you want to bring. At that time, because we are very determined, we put our life on this because we have a lot of choice to do our career. As a fresh graduates, we get a lot of offers because we graduate from the #1 university in Indonesia. And we put our life in here because we believe in our idea. So it makes sense if we put good valuation on our company. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, valuation. I think everybody had the challenges on, especially people want to go into crowdfunding. Well, we had the same challenges as well. Electronic sports in Malaysia, what the hell is that, right? But we cannot compare with US, like 500 million and all that. So it's the fact. We, small company, startup, want to evaluate ourselves, 100 million per way. But looking at it, valuation plays quite a major role because we want investors to come in at what percentage. There's so many factors that you need to look at: your potential investors, their demographics, their ability to spend. All those play a lot of factors, especially in our industry. Is, I think, just like Pasatec here, they don't know whether people can accept this kind of thing yet. Right? We had challenges, and even we also seek a lot of advice from few people. Somebody even tells, hey, why are you doing this? You are getting people in your company, and even when they get to spend in your company, they had like some kind of a power, let's say. Even when they get to say they can still voice out their opinions, just like, and we are, how we call it, liable to every action that we take. And I say, okay, so those are things that really need to put out, and especially when I say about the challenges in crowdfunding is that what we did, the problem was too many things that we are doing right now, and how to evaluate every little single thing that we do, and which is the thing that we need to focus on. That also plays a lot of challenges, and then what we did was eventually try to find a major one and getting the minor one together on, because how our esports work is that it's all related between each other. Like you have the physical part of it, you have the digital part of it, you have the human side of it. So I think because what we thought was that we don't want to give out too much percentage, because I believe that in the next 3 or 5 years that our valuation is at that mark. And I'm proud to say that we are really achieving that since after post-crowdfunding. Then I think we met a lot of people, and I think even I saw Sharon from i5 Plus, so that's so many things to work out on. And then eventually yesterday we met people that already looked at us during the campaign, and they approached us after the campaign because they see something in it. And you remember all those business models like ABC, so they don't want to invest in everything. They just, okay, this guy came, I want to invest in A. So it's a JV, like some kind of JV partnerships, and this guy came, oh, you have the digital side of it, so I want in that. So those are, I think, the outcome of ECF. Okay, thank you very much.
So valuation, of course, is key. I think all the panelists have said if you go too high, obviously you're going to put off a lot of investors, and if you go too low, you're undervaluing your company. So it is difficult to find the right balance, but you can get there if you look at all the data and numbers, you benchmark, and you work with partners who can give you an outsider's perspective. How we did it was because we had raised before, so of course we looked at our current valuation based on our previous rounds, how much we had grown since then, we factored that in. And we also, a year before we did equity crowdfunding, we actually had an acquisition offer. Someone acquisition offer, they wanted a majority stake, and that actually gave us a pretty big valuation if we had accepted it. But we turned it down because we were still very young to entertain an acquisition so early, and we had so much more to give and potential to hit that it would have actually undervalued us if we accepted that offer. But that offer was a good benchmark to kind of show a lot of investors at the time, equity crowdfunding investors, that this valuation we're giving you is very reasonable. It's less than the acquisition offer would have valued us at, but it's a good benchmark of where we are heading in the next 2 years, where this funding will help us achieve. At the same time, see what we've achieved to date. So look at our growth trajectory, look at our current stats analytics, look at our brand and everything, which some of the valuation is not just about revenue. So for us, we hadn't focused on revenue and monetization in the first 2 years. We were focused on brand building, community building, which we thought was very key in health and wellness, because any competitor can come in and they pump in a lot of money, they have great salespeople, great technology, but your health and wellness, people need to trust you. So all that money, all that talent will be of no use if you didn't build a good brand, a good trust, good community. So that's why we focus on that first. So it creates a higher barrier to entry for competitors and makes us a stronger company and a higher value company. So we had to factor that as well, which is sort of intangible in a way in terms of the value of your company. So we factored all of that, which is why I think it's very important that the investors you attract need to really believe in your company, believe in the same vision and values, because then they look at everything outside just the revenue numbers. Because it's very easy for a lot of investors to just look at the revenue that you've been hitting as a valuation sort of benchmark when it's much more than that, I think, for all of us. Yeah, so that's my take on it.
Right. Valuations, again, same to all the panels. It's a very important key that to run ECF. So to me, to find a balance point is very important, but and also, for example, if you are undervalued, you're not comfortable. If you are overvalued, your investor is not comfortable again. So how to define a valuation is really, really critical. I can say really, really critical because since all the startups or most of the companies that runs ECF is very young company. So we don't have past, we don't have past records. So how to track all those things is very hard, it's very critical. So we only tell people what is the futures, right? So there's to me, I summarize it into 6 factors. So the first one is scalability. So how fast can you scale? How big is the market? How big is your potential market? The second one is the profitability. Even though it's not now, it's not current stage that you can profit, but maybe later on after you scale, then you can profit from that. And then third one is your brand awareness. Whether you build your online community, whether people recognize you or not, whether your brand can influence the market or not. And then the fourth one is the sustainability, whether people really need it or not. The things that you have to build is the things that people need, not the things that they want. So sometimes, when a product that fails in the market is because, oh, I think this product is so cool, but the market doesn't accept it. The timing is not right. And then the fifth one is the USP. Whether do you have your unique selling point to set the market barrier high enough, whether people come in, no matter they have high technologies, whether they have money enough. But when you have USP, this belongs to you. And the sixth one, it's your exit plan. Whether do you have a clear exit plan or not? Whether do you tell your investors that how they can earn from here, how they can benefit from investing an early company. So to me, investing an early company is like, for example, it's a cute example. I need you to choose from 100 babies that which one will become a James Bond in 20 years later. So how is it possible, right? That's not possible. You can measure the length, or you can look at the face or what, but it's not possible. So what you can do is just predictions. Believe in which baby will become the James Bond, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's my thing. Thank you.
Yeah, that's an interesting analogy. I'll have to study that one. Give it some deeper thought. I'm sure I can leverage on that somehow. Great. No, I'm hoping that especially for the budding entrepreneurs here, those that are looking to ECF, that they're getting some great insights here. But I think a lot of us we look at equity crowdfunding as just a mechanism, if you like, to access and get funds. That is, of course, the key thing to it. But I think there's a lot of other benefits that you do get from it. And so maybe you can share some of the other things that you got from the campaign.
Before that, I want to welcome a few newcomers. And Mr. Karamjit Singh is here in the house. Karam, can you sit in front? You want to come up front? Come on. And the guy who's clicking away here is Pak Liang from FinSpark. Okay.
What for fundraising? What for money? Where else did you get?
Okay. I think because of the campaign that we ran with Atta Plus, we had our first big gig with a state government. So from that on, we became their online partner, as in the full ecosystem. We are the online partner. We are still running. We are just about to finish the pilot, but we are running. We are going to start with the second phase, which is the bigger phase for the state. But essentially, apart from the context that we made, the openings that they showed us, important parties that saw some value in us, but more importantly is personally is our self-confidence, right? So we know roughly what we want to do with the business, but we actually are newbies in the online ecosystem, right? But from their experience, they've seen what other people are doing and have been doing, what are the do's and don'ts. I think we learned from that. Personally, I think the group, the co-founders of PasaTap, we pivoted from that on. We didn't close, but we had a few people who believed in us, so that pushed us to the next level essentially. But we pivoted where we saw there was a gap in the market. I think with the partnership that we've with Ata Plus that we've started with, therefore we saw there's a bit, so we pivoted our business model a little bit. I think up until now we are just about to close a very, very big deal for us. I think it's also due to Ata Plus as well as us, because we know exactly what we want to do.
With the GLC, right?
With the GLC, yeah. I have signed NDA, so I can't say anything. Yeah. So, but exactly. So, the most important thing is actually we know exactly what we want to do. Before that, it was just, we want to do business. It was so cool to be in a startup, to start a startup, but we didn't know the exit strategy, not exactly. So the journey was not very clear. But I think now it's very clear, and hopefully we will exit in a while.
I just want to add on to that, and I think this one you owe it to SME Corp as well, because
Yes.
Najwa is here, so she was
Thank
the
you.
one who actually pushed for PasaTap to go to China for
Yeah.
the program. Can you
So,
tell a bit? Yeah.
out of the blue, I got an email from Alibaba. So they picked us to be one